So here's our completed floor tile in our bathroom remodel before grouting. Before you start your tiling, lay some tiles out on the floor in a dry run to determine the best arrangement for your room. For cutting circles and irregular shapes in our tile, an angle grinder with a diamond edge blade worked great for me. Tilting the blade allows you to make circular cuts. For making the straight cuts, this inexpensive wet saw does a really good job. As you can see, I made a splash guard out of a small bar clamp and a scrap piece of backer board. This kept all the water that was flying off the blade from soaking me. We got started yesterday putting in our 24 by 24 inch tiles with 16-inch spacing. Normally you're going to want to start in the far end of the room and work your way back so you don't get yourself worked into a corner. The reason we started here at the doorway is because our layout is going to make a full tile at the doorway, and we had these cutouts that we needed to get in. We didn't want a chance working our way back this way and ending up short or a sliver at the doorway. We ended up deciding to go with the Remodel leveling system. It was one of the top 3 or 4 leveling systems as far as being able to get the clips, having them break off evenly once the tile is dried. If you don't get your floor completed in one day, what you're going to want to do is get some scrap pieces of tile and put your clips and wedges in place to hold the clips in the mortar so you'll be able to resume the next day with the clips in place. And one thing we found out, setting tiles in the beginning with no tiles dried and set in place, when you put your clips and wedges in, the tiles are going to move around a little bit, so you're going to have to watch them for a little bit till they set up a little bit and maintain the spacing and the proper placement. We're thinking we won't be having that problem since these first few tiles are now dried and set in place. When we place the next set of tiles up against these, you want to place your wedges in the clips so that the movement of the wedge draws that tile into the one that's set in place. If you had it turned around, it would be pushing it out away from that tile. The Remodel leveling system that we're using came with 250 clips, 250 wedges, and pliers designed to tighten the wedges into the clips. To set the tile thoroughly in the thin set, tap a rubber mallet lightly over the entire tile and then slide the tile slightly and then back into place. Now is also a good time to clean off any excess thin set to keep the joints clean. Use a margin trowel to scrape off the excess thin set from around the tile edges. After your thin set has dried, snap the wedges off with a rubber mallet. For large format tile, you should be using a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch trowel and a modified thin set made for large format tiles. Do yourself a favor and use a tile leveling system, especially if you are installing a large format tile. This frees you from having to constantly level the tiles and results in a professional looking job. Make sure all the leveling system clips stay tight against the tile as the thin set dries. These clips also serve as your spacers. If any clip is even fractionally away from the tile when the thin set hardens, it will have to be broken off so that your spacing is not too wide at that spot. You would then have no clip at that location to use your leveling wedge. Don't ask me how I know that. As previously mentioned, we are using 24 by 24 inch large format tiles with 16 inch spacing in our bathroom remodel. I should also mention that the only time you should use 16 inch spacing with large format tile is if you are installing a rectified tile, which these are. Rectified tile is specially cut after the tile has been fired to minimize size variation from tile to tile. You also have to pay very close attention to the spacing, as any variation in the grout lines will stand out with such a thin gap. Up next, we'll be starting on the shower tiling. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of upcoming video, as we'll be getting into the finishes of our bathroom remodel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.